Hey guys, Fundies the Mercenary here. Welcome back, and I know it's been a long time since I made a video. By request, I'm making an update video. Um, Not a whole lot's been going on since the last video. I kind of got into Battlefield 4 for a while because I just, for the life of me, could not play Dust 514. Ever since they nerfed the Flaylock, I just haven't had very much success. I know what you're thinking, you know, the Flaylock was the only success I had, but for those of you who watched all my videos, know before the Flaylock even existed, I was pretty proficient with the AR. I was able to score, you know, in the high 20s and 30s per match with a very low death rate, and I just can't do that anymore for whatever reason. I don't know what changes were made. Just can't seem to get my game back, I guess. But I did decide to come back for the 1.7 patch, see what changes were made, and see how things have been playing out for the rest of you guys. And I actually like most of the changes made for the 1.7. I complain a lot with my buddies and about the changes that were made, but at the end of the day, when I really think about it, most of the changes are probably actually beneficial. Maybe not for myself, but for the majority player. So yeah, I came back and I tried out the new rail rifle for the 1.7 patch or build and the new combat rifle. Liking them both. I did skill heavier into the combat rifle because I preferred that one slightly more than the rail rifle. And since then I've also started driving tanks, and if I had known I was going to be a tanker, I probably wouldn't have put all those points into the combat rifle. I would have saved them and put them into the tanks. But in any case, you know, what's done's done, and I since then I've decided to be a tanker. So that's pretty much what I've been up to, just trying to get my game back, trying to get back into the game, and trying to have some fun. But from what I understand, in the 1.8 patch, there's going to be some more changes. It's going to be a heavy game changer. I haven't really read any material for myself, but from what I understand from what the people I play with, what they've been telling me is one of the biggest changes is going to be to the logistics suits. I guess they're getting a nerf or something. I guess CCP is trying to wrangle in what people actually use the specific suits for. I guess they're not really digging the people using logistics suits as assault suits, and I'm guilty of that as well. I guess from what I understand, they're going to try to bring them down a peg so that people actually use assault suits for assault and logistics suits for logistics. The way they're going about it, I can't. It's hard to agree with the way they go about things. Sometimes it's mind-boggling how they set things up and then you skill into them and then they just take them away from you. It's like all because it's not working out the way they intended. And in my opinion, there's ways they can change it to where it would be more of the way they intended it to be without punishing people. Essentially, because that's what I feel when for instance, I skilled with the Flaylock pistol. They nerfed it to hell. Now I can't use it, but most of my skill points are into the Flaylock. Like if I were to get all those skill points back that I put into Flaylock, I could literally completely skill into a whole nother weapon that is, you know, the flavor of the month or whatever. But I can't, and so I basically trained the weapon I cannot use. And that's what they're doing to everybody with this logistics thing, because so many people are skilled into logistics because they're using them as their go-to assault suit. Because why would you use an assault suit when you can get the same loadout plus 2 more equipment slots by using a logistics? But CCP is going to take that away from people, and I doubt they're going to give the skill points back for it. And in my opinion, a way they could accomplish their goals of specific uses for specific suits by, instead of changing the suit's stats, they could change the way modules work. And in my mind, what they could do is, we'll give you an example is, so you got the Galente suit, heavy armor suit. You know, it's meant to be heavy in armor, light in shields. Okay, so give the Minotaur assault suit a bonus for using armor plates, and give the other races like the Minotaur and the Caldari a penalty for using armor plates. But also give armor, the races that prefer benefit from armor, give them a bonus to resistance for those armor plates or whatever. Give them bonuses for using their task specific suits, and people will use them for that. Another example would be like, so scout suits would get a bonus to using speed mods, but all the other suits would take a penalty for using speed mods. The logistics suits would get bonuses to armor repair, like how much, and the rate of repair. Get a bonus to uplinks, maybe give them the ability to put more uplinks, whereas if you put an uplink like on an assault suit, you can only put down one uplink at a time. But if you use a logistics suit, maybe you can put down 2 or 3 uplinks at a time without having to have 3 different versions of of the uplinks or whatever. However they do that. Give them bonuses to using nanite injectors, things like that, but decrease their ability to use like armor plates and shield extender, stuff like that, so that they're not so field hardy. So people don't want to use them for assault suits, and because when you make something that's just really good at a job, you can't expect people not to use it for that. Another idea I had for fixing the problem, and I've heard this tossed around a couple times in different circles, fixing the problem with using suits where they're not intended for, is just to take away all the different types of suits. Do away with scout, do away with assault, do away with logistics, do away with heavies. Just make one suit for each race, so 4 suits, and all 4 suits have the same slots for all the suits. They all have 5 highs, 5 lows, 3 equipments, a grenade slot, and something while I'm on the topic of grenades, for fuck's sake, CCP, give us more grenades, Jesus, or make some suit with the ability to hold more grenades. But all the suits, all 4 races have the same slots, and depending on how you fit that suit is what it becomes. So for instance, if you wanted to be a heavy suit that's able to carry a HMG, a heavy machine gun, you have to fit a specific module that increases the strength of your suit to be able to carry that heavy weapon. But once you put that module, you're taking away CPU, you're taking away power grid, but you're increasing the overall carrying capacity of that particular suit. And each module would either decrease or increase your CPU and power grid along with the carrying capacity of your suit to make the different variants. So if you fit 5 armor plates, your suit's going to be really heavy, so you're going to have to increase the carrying capacity. So you have to take one of those 5 armor plates off. You're going to have to put a specific module that will increase the carrying weight, that suit's ability to carry a specific amount of weight. So once you get to a certain point, you become a heavy, regardless of how you fit it. So you could still fit it any way you want, depending on it would just make it so much more interesting to see how the loadouts people would come up with if they had 5 highs, 5 lows, 3 equipments, a grenade slot, but it was up to them on how they wanted to accomplish what suit they were wearing. So you could end up theoretically with a scout which wouldn't be very fast, but with the ability of carrying an HMG, depending on how we set up a suit. Or you can end up with a logistics that's really fast, but hard to see. Or you can end up with an assault that's either heavy in armor or heavy in shields, depending on how you wanted to set it up. But once again, all 4 races, each race specific starter suit would have different bonuses. So the Glente would have armor bonuses, the Amar would have armor bonuses, along with like laser bonuses, and the Glente would have hybrid bonuses, and the Caldar would have shield bonuses along with hybrid bonuses. The Mimitar would have shield bonuses along with acting bonuses or something, depending on what their race is good at. And depending on how you fit it out, would also increase or decrease your bonuses depending on what modules you fit on your suit and what it is specifically you want to do. And this would eliminate the whole war in CCP's crazy mind about how to manage and how to balance these 4 different suits. You can just do away with all the different variants and stop worrying about how a scout's supposed to act, how an assault's supposed to act, how a logistic's supposed to act, how a heavy's supposed to act, and let the player choose depending on how they set their suit up. You would have so many variations that you could not even possibly comprehend right now, which would open up a whole new world for CCP, would open up a whole new world for us. And then they could stop worrying about trying to balancing all this nonsense and start worrying about getting out all the race-specific vehicles. They can worry about you know, making graphics better, maybe making constructible environments. That's just my opinion. That's how I think they can fix all this crazy nonsense with trying to balance racial suits and weapons and stuff. But yeah, so what's some other stuff that I guess they're putting out too? I kind of got off topic with 1.8 here, but I guess from what I understand too is they're putting out some new weapons, a couple of new weapons. I don't really know a whole lot about it. Like I said, I haven't read any of the information for myself. Just know from what I've heard. I try not to get into what people say versus what's realistically coming from CCP. So I generally wait till it's actually out before I like to even comment on it. But I'm not sure if I complained enough yet about how it's so freaking hard for me to play this game lately. I don't know, it might just be me, but some of the other guys I play with also too are saying they're having difficulties playing. But it's getting better. I think honestly, to tell you the truth though, most of the changes they've made, even though I complain about them constantly, the changes that have been made since maybe 3 builds ago, they've probably been beneficial actually, because I have noticed when I first started playing Dust, there was a very small group of people that actually played good. You could probably say maybe 5% of all players actually played good. That number's increased significantly, especially with the last couple of builds. I would say, we've gone from 4 or 5% of good players to at least 20, 30% players are really good now. I mean, when I first started playing, very small group of guys would score over 20 or 30 kills per round, and those same group of guys would probably die, maybe 2 or 3 times each, and have 30 kills. That's 10 to 1. Now, at least 20, maybe even 30% of players I notice when I'm playing, at least it seems like 20 or 30%. Those may not be actual numbers, but with no actual documentation to prove that or anything. But at least 20% of players are, in my opinion, are scoring at least 20 kills a match. I mean, your first when it comes to your score screen, the first probably 5 people on the list, 5 or 6 people have 20 or more kills, and if they don't have 20 more kills, they've got like 2,000 more points from doing whatever they did to get those 2,000 more points. So the game has changed for the better. Obviously, CCP has done something right, even though I mentioned complain about the changes that have been made to aiming and the way the game plays. But just because I can't play well anymore doesn't mean it hasn't benefited the community, and apparently it has, because they've done something right if more people are able to play the game better than they ever have. So with that said, my video is coming to an end. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.